Hello, welcome along to the Offload podcast. Donncha, you're home alone.
Yes, I am, Tommy. That's why I'm so grateful to have all the provinces going well this weekend. Lots of rugby to watch, and we'll be reviewing and previewing the weekends ahead for all the provinces, plus the big one, Tommy. The girls in green, the green wave is hitting Galway. Ireland versus Italy, taking them on into Dexcom. Should be a great game. We're going to discuss it.
Will do. And of course, Munster back in the headlines again. We'll discuss that in a little bit more detail, and also a few other stories that have caught our eye. So make sure to keep tuned to the Offload. Oh, Donncha, Six Nations is back, and there's a real buzz around the girls in green.
You're not wrong, Tommy boy. Yes, momentum is building as we get behind the team this year.
It's set to be a huge few weeks. Big games, big moments, and incredible sport right across the country.
And Vodafone is right at the heart of it, backing the team and rallying the fans through the team of us.
There's matches in Galway, Belfast, and of course that historic first standalone game at the Aviva. The green wave is growing.
Yeah, so get behind our girls in green with Vodafone and the team of us.
Come on, Ireland! Well, he's home alone. The house is a tip behind him. I hope Jenny's not tuning into this.
I hope Jenny isn't cluing into this. And if she is, Jenny, come home. We all miss you fierce. Jenny's away. She's with her sisters in Nice. They got the three of them got together. They live in kind of different parts, so they came together to meet in Nice and catch up. And she's getting kind of 3 days there to kind of just get a bit of a break, which she totally deserves. But I promise you, Tommy, man, I am under the pump. I'm a shell of myself. I really am. I got a phone call
now
there.
You're giving us bad reflection of us men here. This is step up, man. This is your time to shine. Nope.
Believe me.
She's going to come home and you're going to say, John, you should go away more often, Jen.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Is easy.
And I swear I want that with all my heart. I want to be able to but I just can't logistically watch it all drop down, if you know what I mean. I can't keep that many balls in the air. Like Jake went off this morning and I got a phone call about an hour ago that he'd forgotten his lunch. You know what I mean? The same lunch that I was tucking into because it was on the worktop. And then I realised, sugar, that was his lunch. And Jenny had tipped off the kids to make their own lunches. They're like, it was like, you know, he's not going to be all over that, so make sure of it. Just stuff like that. Just
how she left you a list.
Yeah.
Like a schedule.
A schedule like you wouldn't believe. I should go out and get it for you there and just kind of go through it. And look, I put my hands up. I know that is not on. You know what I mean? That I should be able. But the itinerary has stuff like drop Jake to Ring Mahon. You'll think you have time to get a coffee there. You don't. You need to go to Nemo and collect Anna and bring Robin to athletics. Then you'll have time to get a coffee and it's around the corner there. Like,
right. This brings up, now this is, did you read, there was an article in the paper and I heard them discussing it over the weekend, Brianna Parkins, and I don't know the exact, so I'm paraphrasing here, but she said that men don't see the dirt, like that men tidy, women clean, right? And it's very true.
Great line.
That, you know, men don't see dirt. They just know that the women will come up and clean it up out. And I think if in some respects that's true, but there's obviously a lot of fellas out there who do the cleaning, whatever else. But like you're mentioning there a bit that I see as one of my jobs, and that's to do a lot of the picking and dropping and stuff. Like, do you not, is that like where we could be opening up a can of worms here. Where is your roles in this?
Yeah, I know, but the way our schedule's gone, so we've 4 kids, and to be fair, they're in an awful lot of activities. So you actually do. No, and I'm not trying to ring a bell of excuses, but I'm relying now at the moment of the goodwill of kind of friends and people that are in different things. And I actually like that. That's the big community stuff, when people bail you out and get you out of a bit of hassle. My problem is, genuinely, you take for granted like the selfless acts of others. I have taken for granted how Jenny puts everyone else first and then herself. You know what I mean? I don't mean to sound too cringy, but last night, right? Or Jake got up this morning and he wanted to wear shorts to school. They're allowed to now wear shorts. And then his knees were dirty. And I was there like, you didn't have a shower after soccer. And he was there, you didn't tell me have a shower after soccer. And we ended up having this ridiculous conversation of, do I have to tell you do that? And he's looking at me kind of going, you're telling me do it now, like, you know what I mean? Why didn't you tell me? And they're like, yeah.
Okay, well, listen, is she home so you can watch a bit of rugby? Actually, you're never going to be allowed to watch any rugby
forget
anymore.
about everything. I'm on the survival trail. I'm ringing my mom and bringing her down for dinner and just asking
No, you
her
can't do
advice on
that. No,
everything.
that's. Listen, you got to go through this on your own. You got to show you're capable.
I do. And look, I'm
4
not trying to
kids
make
is
it about
tough.
me. I promise you, I'm not trying to break it about me. I'm trying to highlight the fact of selfless people that go beyond themselves and underappreciation on my part more so than anything else. I take
And
it
you know
for granted.
What goes around comes around. Those people who will help you out now, you'll be able to return the favor, in a couple of weeks' time, later down the line, no?
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you?
Donncha, come on, man. You're a generous giving
Absolutely.
man. You're always there to help people out.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you know he's not, please do get in touch. Offload.
Or more importantly, Tommy,
Offload
if you're-
podcast. Voice note, even better.
Or more importantly, if your kids are in the same activities as mine and you see them at the side of a pitch for over 20 minutes, will you make sure to drop them home or something, please?
Now, one of my things as well, like in terms of kit and stuff, like I made a career out of playing rugby, turning up in the wrong kit, old shorts, wrong socks.
Yeah, you were a nightmare.
Odd socks. I just kind of see that as like, aren't I here? Aren't I dressed? I like those small details which we keep hearing from all the management speak and Joe Schmitz of this world to tell us, it's take care of the small details, the big details look at themselves. I wasn't really into that. I was like, listen, I look forward to the big match, and if I turn up for training in the right stuff, the happy days. So I try to pass that on to the kids to kind of like, don't get bogged down in like, in the small stuff that people get really upset about, like relax. But Lucy doesn't see that at all. Do you mean at all? Like, I'd send Jamie in shorts, but probably like the wrong shade of grey shorts. Do you mean like, so to me, I'm like, they're shorts, they're grey, like they're grand. And she, no, they're not. So, and this goes back to the whole women, like men tidy, women clean. Like I think men clean, just women clean more. Like they see more. Like Lucy sees stuff that I just don't see.
And I often say that to Jenny. Like I don't know what's frustrating you like that. But if she and we realized this as we were getting married, Jenny realized if she gave me a job, I'd do it. But I couldn't work out. You know what I mean? That job needed to be done. You know that way. I was there. She was there like, will you ring the band? I was there. Yeah, no problem at all. And she was there like, probably 2 weeks before it, thinking, when is he going to ring the band? Just leave me know. I
love.
I can't multitask, man. I can't.
I swear. I listened to this on News Talk the other day, and we're not doing ourselves any favor.
No, we're not.
Like any of the
And
messages
listen,
that come in.
we know there is proper people out there, and I don't make it to make it a gender thing in any way. It's not. You just know there's super people that put others first, and that's what we've got in our house with Jenny. But actually, to go back to your bit, I was 18 years of age, involved in my first ever Munster camp. And I roomed with the great Ken O'Connell, a brilliant back rower, played for Sunday as well. Munster played in London Irish with Malcolm O'Kelly, great fella. But I remember his advice as he came out, and he had a bit of a balance between both of us. What you're saying there, right? So he came out of the bathroom brushing his teeth. He was brushing his teeth with my toothbrush because he didn't bring his toothbrush.
No.
And I remember I was there, Ken boy, is that my toothbrush? And he said, exact line was, what's mine is yours, brother. What's mine is yours. But I remember his advice was, right, you're young in the game, 2 bits of advice that'll always stand to you in rugby and even in life. Be on time and look the part. And I think if you take those, I remember like Ken was involved with our academy lads, and I'm there. If they take that out of their 3 years in the academy, they're actually not going to go that bad. Like, you know what I mean? Be on time and look the part. Yeah, I'm doing
That's
neither
a very
at the
fair
moment.
point. Like for you, because you do take that on board with this like you're generally, when you turn up to something, very well dressed. Is that part of that reason?
Yeah, 100%. I just think there's, but then again, I think rugby gives you the values and stuff. We've chatted
Of
about
course,
this
yeah.
before, about the kind of punditry side of it. But we differ in opinion. I think if you're being invited into somebody's living room to get it across,
But
it's
even an event, you turn up to events with, like, you look smart. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
nearly, do you kind of see, I prefer to be overdressed than
yeah.
underdressed?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it can be sometimes a problem with, I hate to say it, but with rugby lads, you know what I mean? They're used to seeing us in the tracksuit. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Showing that there's a bit more, or that you gave a shit to tog out, you know?
Yeah. No, listen,
Yeah.
be on time and look the
And look
part.
the part.
That's
Ken O'Connell, legend. Honestly, there's a man. There's a great story. Jeremy Davidson went over to sign with Cast, and they showed him around the place, and he was asked to bring his agent. I don't know how true the story is. You know the way these ones get arms and legs. But he
totally keep it
brought
going.
Ken, yeah, he brought Ken O'Connell with him because they were great friends. And what ended up happening was Ken boy ended up signing and playing in France for a few years, and Jeremy legged us.
I think they signed the agent.
I think so. There's one of them anyway. Yeah, and I think Ken boy lived. Listen to this, because we know him. Ken and Malcolm O'Kelly lived on a barge in London somewhere. You know, one of those boats.
Yeah.
They lived on one of those boats while they were playing for London Irish. Like, could you manage? Like, you know, Mal. Just honestly, add a Cork accent and take away 4 foot, and you've got Ken O'Connell. Wow.
Two of them in a houseboat. Can you
In
imagine the
one of
size
those
of the
little
pair of them?
barge boats. Yeah, yeah.
Very good. That's so funny. This
Oh,
so was this like this is something I want to talk to you about later on, because the story around teenagers and who's got the best side of social media and computers, and I want to talk to you about this in the fact that the balance between the professional game and the amateur game, and who kind of came
yeah.
off for the best time of it as well, because stories like that just don't exist anymore, and
No, they
that's
don't,
you,
unfortunately.
you
Yeah, yeah.
just miss that stuff. Right, we do need to get a bit of housekeeping. There are a lot of rugby matches on this weekend. Ulster are going to be playing against Leinster tonight. Ulster with a fairly stacked team. Leinster kind of 50-50. And it's
Here, you're calling Sam Prendergast 50-50. You
Sam who? Sorry? Sam.
stop it, stop it.
Hey,
We hope it
no.
goes well.
I'll definitely be saying that whenever he's playing tonight, because he better not have a stormer again. But listen, like for Leinster, a quality side, of course, but a lot of their big names have been left behind as well. They'll probably come to Ulster and give them a hell of a game, no
Yeah,
doubt about that. But yeah, kind of you want to see the best there. Then Saturday, Stormers against Connacht. Connacht are away from home. That's 12:45. Munster away from home against Benetton at 7:45. And then, of course, Ireland women take on Italy, and that's at 5:40 in the Dexcom Stadium over in Connacht. They're hoping for 10,000
brilliant,
supporters for that. So that's going to be a great atmosphere over
amazing,
there for that.
brilliant. Yeah, a great weekend of rugby. And I suppose if we kind of start with the women's game, obviously last weekend in Twickenham, probably the result didn't go the way we'd like. It reminded me an awful lot of the opening of the men's Six Nations, where there was an awful lot of errors, especially in the first half. And to be fair to Scott Beeman, man, he's been a little bit ruthless in kind of maybe transitioning the squad for this game, you know, leaving out Dorothy and Eve, and Robin comes in for her first cap in the centre. And I don't think it's a bad thing, because
Yeah.
you know what, Tommy, on the big days, you need your big players to have massive performances. And you know what happens when you leave players like that out. Aoife Wafer all of a sudden kind of goes, that could easily be me. You know what I mean? Stacey Flood, now you're kind of going, yeah, I need to bring it. But look, England are ahead of everyone else, be it, you know what I mean, with, what is it, the amount of Six Nations champions, World Cup champions. But we, like, to finish that second half, what did it finish? 12-all, I think, in terms of scores. It was the best score line we've had. You can see we're kind of closing the gap. The difference probably is just the amount of competitive games they probably have in terms of their league. They looked international ready, where we looked like we needed to jump up to it. And it took the second half to kind of get that. I think we're going to get better as the competition goes on, but I wonder, will we regret not being a better performance in that first half, you know?
Yeah, first big time. But like, listen. I was in Centre Parks. I was probably going down the log flume or the one of the
Of
slides at
course.
that stage. I didn't get to see it. Went
Yeah,
back, watched the highlights. But even just when I saw the score 33-12, I thought, "Do you know what? Like, it's a loss, disappointing, but away from home in front of 80,000 supporters where the nerves could really get to you.
yeah,
Huge amount of pressure, not mainly on England, but at the same time on a lot of those girls who wouldn't have played in front of crowds like that.
yeah,
Like they lost 49-5 to England last year, and that was
yeah,
at home. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
the scoreline 33-12 and the fact that the girls, and I was reading a story by Baveen Parsons this week as well, talk about the disappointment in there. And I think that's
yeah.
a real sign that they are making huge steps forward.
I,
That to lose by, 20 points, which is something that to be disappointed about, but at the same time, given where they've come from
agreed.
against the defending world champions who are on another level, I
Yeah.
think it was, they put their bodies out there, and Italy's a big chance now. You just hope that they're able to translate that through to this weekend and put on a big, big performance at home.
You've nailed it, Tommy. That's it. Like, yeah, and we feel bad saying it because you always want the results, but they're ahead of us in the road to professionalism. You know what I mean? They've
Yeah.
a vibrant league that allows all those players. They've a bigger player pool and stuff. And you don't want to make excuses, but we're bridging the gap now, and then that's great to hear that there's genuine disappointment. No, in the squad today, there'll be a little bit of shock because, you know what I mean, two good players
Yeah.
have been, if you know what I mean, selection is live,
Yeah.
and that's what you want, competition for places. And you're right, it's to bring it on now into Italy. And then, yeah, as we go on, because you're right, England was a freebie to go have a pop, and we did do that, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
now you expect against Italy. I don't mean to be harsh or
Yeah.
disrespectful, but we've beaten them before. We got to show that we're able to push away from our three home venue games and then bring a big one for France.
Well, this is it. This is in a way where the Six Nations starts, because this is the one where Scott, being the head coach, will be like, right, we want to go 4 from 4 these next 4 matches.
Yeah,
And all of a
yeah,
sudden they do that. You run England relatively close in front of a huge crowd, but
yeah,
you win the next 4 matches. My goodness me, they're going the right direction. So
yeah.
listen,
So,
well done. Best of luck to
yeah,
Robin O'Connor in a first cap as well. Debut at
brilliant
home
news.
in Connacht's always going to be a classic as well. So
Yeah, and if there's there's still
congratulations.
tickets around there. I know it's at a great number already, but if everyone's around Galway this weekend and is knocking about, that's a great one to get to. Like, you're right as well, 70,000 in Twickenham. Tommy, we both played in Twickenham, man. We played in big venues, but that place is intimidating, isn't it?
It really is. It is exactly.
I found that the most daunting place. Maybe it's because the English players grew. I always felt in Twickenham. Maybe perception does banana stuff, but they even seem bigger. You know that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, to get
Like
out that
playing in the
side. But
Aviva,
hopefully
which,
we can get a great crowd there for the girls and get behind them.
well, that's it. Like there's 10,000 they're hoping to. I think it's 8,000 tickets sold already. You hope to get to the 10,000. You hope the weather is going to be good. And then, of course, Ireland are going to play in the Aviva Stadium at the end of the championship. And
Great.
that's where you want the big, big crowd like England did
Yeah.
last weekend. So that's
And
going
do
to be
you
a
know
really
what?
interesting one.
Just on that, Tommy, I know we're in the venues now at the moment, right? And hopefully we all get to that point where England are at. We're nearly selling them out, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean, or they are sold out. But I think it's only respectful and right to our sisters that they're playing in the proper stadiums. Even like the Dexcom, brilliant, a proper big venue. You know what I mean? You want them playing in the likes of, the Principality, or what's it called now, the Millennium or Cardiff. You see
I
them.
don't know,
Do you
Donncha.
not? I
Well,
think it deserves it, man. I think if you're playing for your country, you deserve to be in the best arenas. Obviously, like who was saying there, the Welsh game. So Wales played Scotland, and if you had played that in Cardiff Arms Park, it would have been Jammers. Would you rather that? Would you rather play in a
yeah,
Jammers Cardiff Arms than,
totally.
would
Like
you?
I'll never forget my 50th cap with Ireland, right? Was against South Africa at home. And it was back whenever the Aviva Stadium, everyone was in the pub, in the
Yeah,
bar until like the game was 5 minutes started. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And running out onto the out to the stadium, a big, big day. You're pumped up coming out of the dressing room with the green jersey on, delighted. And you look up and it's empty. And you're like, fuck, it's a bit demoralising. And,
Mm.
I've played matches with Ulster and say the old Lansdowne Road or in the Aviva Stadium, and it's a quarter, or not even a half full. Like, and you can hear you can hear the echoes and stuff. Where they go against in the Affidea Stadium up in Belfast. So they're going to be going down and playing in Musgrave or the Virgin Media Park or Thomond or over in Dexcom and Connacht. Personally, I think a full stadium has a better buzz about it than you watch the Gaelic football and they're playing the Alliance League matches in Croke Park, and I just think, what a fucking waste.
Well, that's just the Dubs, isn't it?
No, but they play these matches and they're empty, or Leinster in the Aviva at the minute.
Yeah,
it's crap.
Yeah. But having said that, and then we're having this massive fight about, well, not fight, argument about trying to get Katie Taylor into Croke Park all over again. It's
but there's Katie Taylor gets into Croke Park, that thing could be sold 3 times over.
Hopefully, yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed.
Like,
fingers
there's
crossed.
Talks
you're right.
going on with that today that the Eddie Hearn is over. I just hope they make it happen, right? Like, it's in the papers this morning that Micheál Martin is under a bit of pressure, right? And he's he's lost touch with the voters out there. I tell you what, Micheál Martin, you step up there and say, I want to make Katie Taylor fighting in Croke Park my main priority for this time as European feckin' president, whatever it is. You will get the voters back on your side again. That's what we all want to see.
Every trucker and construction or contractor probably wants Katie to fight him in Croke Park, battered him around the place. That's what we want, Micheál.
We don't know who she's fighting.
Micheál, call her out. Micheál will fight Katie in Croke Park. Haul on the fuel price.
That would be class.
But no, you're right. But then it leads to it. Like, I know this, we've chatted about this before personally. I always felt, do you remember when Edinburgh played in Murrayfield?
Yeah.
I felt that I got the hang of Murrayfield. I got to learn how to navigate it. So basically, their tiny dressing rooms have got this massive pillar. Actually, the French complained about it this year, I think. Yeah. And then they do, as you arrive, because the bus has to go slow because there's people walking around.
Yeah.
They put a fellow with the bagpipes in front of you. And like, I know it should be traditional and nice, but you've butterflies everywhere, man. You just want the bus to honestly drive on.
Get me into that dressing room.
But what ended up happening, Tommy, as a result of playing there more, playing against Edinburgh more, I got to know how to navigate it. I always arrived with my strapping done at that point. Then with my kind of socks on, I knew just throw on, you know what I mean, shorts and nearly stay out of it. And I got better. And I think we all did. It didn't become intimidating. I worry a little bit, will that be the case for the Aviva with the over-familiarity of some of the other teams getting to use it so much, when it's the way we've seen it at the weekend.
Agreed, that pitch in Murrayfield, like how long the dead ball line is.
Yeah.
But if you were only turning up there every 2 years to play against Scotland, you wouldn't remember it. Do you know what I mean? Where you're playing every year against Edinburgh up there. So listen, I'd love to see Ireland are going to be playing in the Aviva Stadium at the end, and you just hope they get a big crowd for it, because I think
agreed.
So it's not worth it if it's not going to be close to sold out.
Yeah, but isn't that a good model at the moment? That we're in Galway this weekend, and then that there is a big one as we build, and let's all try to rally around and get in there for that. The big one in the Aviva, and if you're in Galway, get along to that one, and then Belfast as that goes on,
Big time, like if your daughter's into football, Gaelic football, rugby, whatever, it'd be brilliant to take her along. So that's going to be a cracker of a match as well. We've something brilliant running right across the Women's Six Nations, and you're going to want to be involved.
Yes, Tommy boy, Vodafone have given us tickets to every home game in Galway, Belfast, and a huge day in Dublin, plus a load of Irish jerseys to give away.
Vodafone, they're right at the heart of it, back in the women's game and building on the team of us. The most connected team and fan base out there.
There you go. Just check out the Offload socials and you could be heading to the game or looking so sharp in green.
It's all about showing your support, being part of something bigger. We'll keep you fully up to speed with the girls in green with thanks to Vodafone.
Come on, Ireland. Go on, the team of us.
I suppose we need to discuss another big news story at the minute. Obviously, it's around Munster. Munster away from home against Benetton. tomorrow, 7:45. Munster are in their own issues at the minute, obviously out of the Challenge Cup. In 6th, I think, in the URC. There's a huge amount going on there. Pressure with them. Are they
And a
6th?
mad one. Jack Crowley was doing media all week. We asked any chance we could have a chat with Jack, and I've got we'll get back to you. Bye.
I know. What the fuck's that all about?
Ghosted, man. Whoa.
Yeah.
We would love to chat it to him.
Yeah, and
Cheers.
I think he would have enjoyed it as
Good
well.
on you.
Yeah, Pinergy. No, like that's bloody frustrating now, I have to say. Yeah,
It is when you see him everywhere, man, isn't it? And you know what I mean? Like, you'd love to chat at him.
And I do think we could have knocked a bit of crack and had a bit of a laugh with him as well.
You know what? Maybe we need to take this as a serious rugby podcast. Maybe that's the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like how long are we chatting? And basically we've realised that I fucking can't self-parent. You know what I mean? That I'm a disaster is all we took from today.
Well, we get a bit of that sort of honesty from Jack as well, or we would have. But listen, we'll hopefully get him again. But frustrating. I suppose maybe Munster, like, you got to question it, because Munster with their PR at the minute is not good either, because obviously they're facing a bit of a fallout over Roger Randall. So they've announced Roger Randall is going to be their new attack coach. He, of course, worked with Clayton McMillan over in the Chiefs. He has been announced to replace Mike Prendergast from next season. Obviously, they've worked together, himself and Clayton McMillan, but the former winger was charged with the crime. Listen, there's back in 1997, he was accused of raping a woman right in Durban. He was charged with it. The charge was dropped with the claim, withdrew from the process. The police were ready to proceed. She chose not to testify. The claimant did not retract her accusation. Local police believe the winger had a case to answer. Nothing has come out of that, right? And we are obviously not going to be going into that, as a story is not one that we need to be discussing. But in terms of, from a PR point of view from Munster, with people being asked about taking redundancy, obviously pressure financially over there in Munster, with the rugby not exactly going so well, and just in terms of the general PR and the general consensus around Munster rugby at the minute, I just wonder, from their point of view, was this, a decision was obviously made on bringing Roger in, who was a fantastic rugby player, seems to be an absolutely fantastic rugby coach as well. But with this story and what has happened in the past, I know it looks like 3 players from the Munster Professional Game Board have stepped down from this because of it as well. Sorry, let me try and find this here.
Yeah, you're good. Sorry, Tommy, I don't mean to sit on the fence here, but I need to get up to speed an awful lot on it. I'm not burying my head in the sand, but I'm just not on the story. It's been moving kind of too fast, and I'm not all over it. I need to kind of submerge myself in it more so that I can kind of distill an opinion on it and stuff like that. I just don't have enough of the info. When did this kind of break?
The last day or two. Right.
Okay.
So the Irish Independent, I'm reading this from, understands that 3 former players who are independent members of the PGB, so Billy Holland, Killian Keane and Mick O'Driscoll, have all stepped down earlier this week because of their objections to the appointment. So obviously it's an 8-person PGB. They've made the decision to sign him. The Chief Executive Ian Flanagan, General Manager Ian Costello and Clayton McMillan were all part of this, but they're not in a voting capacity. So it's up to the PGB to make the decision. They obviously decided that the PR fallout was worth the quality of coach that they were getting in. And this is obviously a fairly hot topic in Irish rugby, and we're talking about growing the women's game. We're talking about how important it is to talk about respect within the IRFU, and it's something that I know that Munster rugby, that Irish rugby, that all the provinces take extremely seriously. And I'm sure Munster have done 100% of their due diligence on it, but I just wonder, is this a bit of an own goal from them? So listen, I know you're not quite up to speed in that, but
no,
it's all
and I don't mean to
I
be
think it's going
ignorant
to
on
be
it,
hugely
but
discussed.
I'm ignorant on an awful lot of it because I don't know. See that? What are you calling it? PG? What's that called?
PGB, the Professional
Yeah,
Game Board.
are they in charge of picking, or does you know what I mean? Does
So
Clayton
Ian
pick it?
Costello, for instance, Ian Costello, who would be the director of rugby or general manager, would be on the hunt. Obviously, Mike Prendergast has left to go to Bath. They're on the lookout for a new attack coach to replace Mike. Ian Costello would have a number of candidates and to take them to Clayton McMillan and say, listen, any of these would be people that you would like to work with. Obviously, one of them would have been Roger Randall, who Clayton has worked with before, obviously has a great deal of respect for him. They've obviously had great reputation together. Roger Randall has coached in a number of different teams right through the New Zealand system and is very highly respected. So obviously he's wanted to maybe go for this person because of what they can do for the benefit of the game in Munster rugby. Then they would take their decision on this is who we would like to bring in, take that to the Professional Game Board, and they would make a decision whether they give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It looks like they've obviously made the thumbs up because he has been announced as he's going to be their attack coach. But the fact that it's reported that 3 of the members of that board have stepped down over the decision, it just paints a bad picture, Donncha. And it's just, it just with all the kind of negativity around Munster rugby at the minute. And I know you're feeling it, like you're frustrated with the whole Champions Cup, everything, you know, it's just another, like you always go on about the blue media, but it's another thing for people to pick at Munster about.
Yeah. And look, there's volley in that as well, because you do want journalism. You want people asking questions, and the main thing is you want, like, I always go back to Declan Kidney's line with us. You know what I mean? Like, you might perceive it my role to make you a good rugby player, but my fucking job is to make you a good man. You know what I mean? And I always say that too about him. That's what I'm so grateful to the likes of him and Billy's dad, Jerry Holland, Pat Geraghty. Those fellas kind of rounded you. You know what I mean? They you'd be proud to have your kids around them because they help. A bit like we were saying, it takes a village, man. Everyone helping out in those ways. So that's where you kind of feel at the moment. You don't want to pile on. You don't want to, but without being totally ignorant, I'm just not as versed as I'd like to be to kind of distill stuff. I must say, Tommy, we caught up last Thursday with the 20-year reunion team, man, and fucking it's magic. It's magic because you're around a group of people that all care about each other. And I swear to God, it could have been 2 days ago we were around each other. You know, that way nothing changes. And I think caliber matters, values matter. And I think whatever about different kind of things, and it is a professional game, we always, I go back to him all the fucking time when I think of it. I just think of it in my own personal life all the time. I remember when the shit would hit the fan, Axel had a saying, man, north. You just go forward, move, like get the ball and fucking just win north-south battle. Like forget about age. I just think we need a little bit of that all around the place at the moment, a kind of common goal where we're all rallying together as opposed to, you know what I mean, fracturing out.
Exactly. And that's kind of what is the issue with this, Donncha. You need a bit of good news. I just think that this is just...
I'll be honest with you, Tommy. Munster supporters, Munster people, good news isn't vital. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest with you.
But go in the right direction is.
I
exactly
agree.
as you said.
But, sorry, I'm not trying to jump in on this, but I'm making the point of the alliance to Munster with so many was the identity of nearly suffering a little bit. You know what I mean? Going through the shitty moments. But there needs to be common purpose there in that. You know what I mean? And it needs everyone around to kind of feel it too. And I worry about that kind of part of it more so than anything. There's just, I'm all for players being professional and setups like that, but I would take us never winning a European Cup ever again if you saw clear identity all the time. I hate being tough on the players, but that's the bit that pissed me off. In though that 45-0, man, just show that you're a fucking boy from Clare that loves this place. Show you're from Tipperary and you You know what I mean? You dreamt of this all your life. You're from Limerick, you're from Cork, you're from Waterford, Kerry, wherever the fuck you're from, man. That this jersey allows you to, and if you get pumped, we can live with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
sorry, I'm going off because
all the Munster supporters want is, to see that effort and the collective, and that's where you make the memories. Listen, from Munster's point of view, they've got Benetton this weekend. They've 4 matches left. They've Ulster, then Connacht, then the Lions. They're in 7th in the league at the minute. Getting, staying in the top 8 is so important. It's worth, I think, over €1 million to be in the top 8. And given everything that's going on there in Munster at the minute, they need to do that. Benetton, though, away from home, it's not going to be easy. Benetton haven't had the season that they've had over the last couple of years, but they'll have all their Italian players back. It could be a potential banana skin.
It was a banana skin years ago, and now they've deadly players, man. Menoncello, like, you know what I mean? This is one, but then I like this, like, I know this sounds awful, and I hate being that kind of mentality, but Tommy, we were always better, kind of backed into a corner nearly. And I hope that is the feel around that group at the moment. You know what I mean? I'm on about the playing squad that'll go out and represent. They need to kind of come out swinging now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like everyone's trying to put the boot in terms of there is massive pressure if we weren't to qualify, and already you have to realise what's going on with the voluntary redundancies and that side of the business. But you've something to prove here, and I think they do need to come out swinging, but it's not going to be easy. To see Benetton against Exeter, they're a quality team, man. They're really good.
They lost 41-44. Jesus,
it
3
was an
points.
Incredible game.
And Henry Slade with that kick at the end of the game was they were leading. Henry Slade with 2 kicks in the final 2 minutes of the game. To go to bring it 41-all, and then of course to make it 44-41. So exactly. That's not going to be easy, particularly at home as well. And Benetton, they're equally fighting to get themselves into the top 8. So it's actually going to be really interesting around there because you've got the Bulls, Connacht, Sharks, Ospreys, Benetton, Edinburgh, Scarlets potentially on the outskirts of that, but there's a couple of teams that are going to be fighting to get themselves into those playoffs. It's going to be really interesting.
And I'm going to be really selfish. If you look at our run, it's everyone that is fighting as well. We've got you know what I mean? You're trying to, I know you've 2 fronts now, thankfully being still involved in the Challenge Cup, but then we've Connacht as well. So it is, and the Lions, you know what I mean? So it's not going to be easy to make that top 8, which it actually makes me feel sick saying that. You know what I mean? Imagine saying
the Bulls are 40 points, Munster 41, Cardiff 41, then Lions 43, then Leinster. Do you mean it's pretty crazy, isn't it? It's a competitive bunch there, which for the URC as a league is fantastic.
It is.
Think that there's no just walk in the park anymore, that you're fighting it out to get into the top 8. That's class.
Yeah, and look, it's a good way to be, because honestly, I don't mean to be hard on the Prem, but you look at Harlequins now with the lack of relegation and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we used to find it a bit against the Dragons when there's no relegation and they're sitting bottom of the league and they're getting ready to kind of go on holidays because I know we're slagging, but we always found them really dangerous because they were just going out and having a laugh. So it's
you'd want
it'll be a
them
big
maybe
one.
now. And then of course, so you have 4 teams pretty much who are all going to be fighting for that one as well. Connacht are the same. So Connacht have got the Stormers away from home. That's a tough one for Connacht. They're obviously Stormers are second in the league at the minute, and then they've got the Lions. So they've got their South African trip now, which is a tough time to get. It'll be bloody hot over in South Africa at the minute.
Yeah, the only thing I always, because I know everyone complained about it, Leinster probably used to get that South African trip near the end of the season. I actually think that's a great time to kind of gel everyone. If you use that as a team bonding event, and I actually think Lancaster will actually like them going on the road a little bit. And you know what I mean? If you use that tour right and you properly tour, and looking at their social media, they're doing a bit of that. There's a bit of crack on the bus and fellas doing joke of the day and weather and all that kind of stuff. I just think it can bring you together nicely towards a run in towards the end of the season,
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I'm
big
hopeful.
time.
Come on,
Well,
Conor.
you do, yeah. You don't know, you don't know whether to get out of the like. I think from the players' point of view, like through the Six Nations would be a great time to get it because it's not too much, not getting too crunch at that stage.
I,
But
I, I I
it's
think it
gonna be
was
cracker
different for
again.
Leinster because they had such a massive squad. You know what I mean? Whereas they were probably leaving some people at home and then trying to run, and that's a logistic nightmare. Whereas if you bung on and actually tour as a group, but you're like only Leinster, well, with the exception of maybe Toulouse and a few of the powerhouses of European rugby could afford to do stuff like that. You know, send two
Well,
different kind of groups.
isn't it crazy, right? So Leinster are obviously away from home up against Ulster on tonight. They've got Jerry Kerr is starting at loosehead prop. They've had to call back
Yeah,
Ed Byrne from Cardiff Blues. Like
amazing.
this is to think of the strength and depth that they have in loosehead that they're actually having to recall players. I
Yeah.
think Ed must have been on loan over in Cardiff, has played quite a bit for them this season. But actually things are that tight for them up in the loosehead position that they had to bring him back. But still, like they've got Kelleher at centre, Clarkson, they've got James Ryan is playing, you've got Luke
Skips, yeah.
McGrath who's going to be leaving at the end of the season, Sam Prendergast, Henshaw, Ringrose, Keenan. Like I kind of said it was maybe a second team, it's still pretty shit hot to be fair.
Yeah, yeah, it is absolutely. And look, then everyone will know the kind of role and the importance. Like between Ulster and Leinster, they're the only ones that are probably on for a double, you know, in that way. And I just think I'm laughing at the moment because Leinster are the biggest powered underdogs I've ever heard about, man. Have you listened to kind of other podcasts and stuff? No one rates Leinster for Europe. I just think it's laughable. They're like the difference last week was just the star quality, man, that they have. They can find a way
Second
to
half. Second half, they could
unbelievable.
just literally turn it on.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. But then, like, you know what I mean? Everyone's there, yeah, Leinster, but they're forgetting the amount of, central contracts and like even Glasgow losing at home, which was a nightmare
Oh,
for them to do on. But then it falling in Leinster's lap that they're at home and you get to
yeah,
play the Aviva again. But there's
yeah.
one smaller numbers who wonder should they go to Newbridge or you know what I mean, Tala or something like that, but that would never happen, would it?
No, I don't think so. And like to be fair, like those matches in the Aviva, I'd say they just can't wait to get back to the RDS. And it looks unbelievable. I've driven past it a few times. It looks class, but playing the Aviva, I'd say for the supporters, it's crap. Like, do you know what I mean? They find it hard, I'd say, going to it as well.
How
So,
how
um,
can it be, man? That's our front room, Tommy, man. That is
it. Like
no,
you've
I
been there. We've gone to watch Irish matches, and the atmosphere is shit in there, and
yeah,
that's with full. Like going in there with
sorry, I'm not being harsh. It's still the national stadium for our sport. Like it's still like I know I'm going back to playing for Cork on in AIL finals, lost to Dungannon there, but it was the biggest fucking day ever because you're playing in the Aviva. It requires you to bring more. You know that kind of way. I mean, and forget about the supporters, and it can be half full. Like it still deserves you bringing your best performance, isn't it? Like.
But it does, but I still, and I just, anyway, I think,
I basically think at the moment though it's been used too much. Like
yeah,
genuinely, I do think they're probably like I don't want to be
need to keep it special.
keep it special.
Yeah,
It's not been made special enough, to be
no,
fair.
I
And
agree.
look, I understand finances. You know what I mean? Of course, make money you can, but
Yeah,
as well, if you say you're true to 12 counties, wouldn't it be nice to see one in Newbridge or something like that? You see. You know what I mean? Connacht going to Mayo. You see Munster using Park Equive. Sorry, no, you're not having.
Imagine Toulon's face. They have to go off and play out in Kildare.
Brilliant.
uh, well,
Don't allowed.
it reminds me there of you saying you remember playing in the All Ireland League final against Dungannon. Like they were the glory days of the AIL. You kind of were able. I think you probably were as close to enjoying the amateur days and professional days
Yeah,
as
no
you
doubt.
get, right? So there's a study that's been put out at the minute saying people born between 1992 and 1999 had the
Hold
best
on.
mix
92,
till
92 to
99,
99. Yeah.
had the best mix of life before and after the internet. So you're now a zillennial, the micro generation that knew life before smartphones and grew up as social media took over. I'm calling bullshit on this, right?
Go on.
Surely,
What are you
like,
calling it?
surely like mid 80s to mid 90s is the best time to be born. So you get to actually appreciate and enjoy social media and kind of the life before it became like, you think about social media now, it's no crack anymore. Remember when Twitter started, like you were able to actually have a laugh and put up pictures and people didn't get too upset about it.
Yeah.
Nowadays you put something on social media, you fucking cancelled. Do you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
you know, people get pissed off with you because you know you're only messing, but there's no messing anymore.
Well, that's Trump's main one, isn't it? Where
True.
he's
Yeah, he seems to get away with these things somehow. Jeez. But like again, it's kind of like the rugby part of it, because nowadays you see the young players who are part of the professional organization that never really got to sample the kind of amateur side of it, where like you travel away the night before a game, you stay over, and then you play a match, and then you stay over that next night, and the crack, you'd have to stay over, win or lose, on the booze, get nights out in Glasgow and Edinburgh and Zebra and in Treviso,
Yeah.
Swansea.
But Tommy, we
Great.
were blessed as well, though. There was no phones. You like genuinely, could
Exactly,
you imagine
yeah.
some of the carry on? Like, but like I do remember having to go into Coppers and carry teammates over my shoulder out of there to get them to those. Do you remember when recovery sessions were only put on to get everyone back? They weren't for recovery. It was basically like a check-in of like, where is everyone? You know what I mean? It's just great times. But now that will be everywhere, wouldn't it?
Everywhere.
Like I saw a clip of, was it Bundy and Finlay Beelum just looking at their phone because they were out, and they saw
I saw that.
the result of the English-France game, and you know what I mean? Like that's captured now, you know. And
Yeah.
Bundy giving that then.
I was actually surprised that they weren't in the team hotel all watching that together. So maybe you're getting a bit more behind the scenes. But exactly, listen, I think that before social media, it did kind of ruin it. So I do think that we got the best. Or
Yeah, we
certainly
did.
maybe a few years ahead of me.
No,
it was
I'm
good
really grateful
times.
for our time. I pray to God, I hope the girls and all the lads coming behind us get paid really well. They deserve it for what they're going to put their body through.
Agreed.
Well done. But I wouldn't swap our time for love nor money. We'd have bought. And we had, with the end of the Ken O'Connells, if you know what I mean, that beautiful amateur that kind of probably helped us transit. Like we spoke about Trevor Brennan. Those are the lads that, you know what I mean, tried to move on into professionalism. But we got the early shot at it and still had the amateur ethos and values and ways. Like, could you imagine, Tommy, after a match, suggesting to, you know what I mean? Like not having points after a game would just be bananas, like, wouldn't it?
Oh, listen, big time. And to be kind of the question marks, like, are we going out in our like full like Irish gear? Are we not? It's like, does a Superman go out without his cape? Of course, I'm wearing my full Irish suit. The women, I love the Irish coat and suit.
The last huddle with every match is, are we going straight out after this? Or are we going home and getting togged? Or did you bring your own gear and stuff like
Exactly.
that? But
do we waste time going back to the hotel and getting changed?
Yeah. I was listening to Danny Kerr chatting about it. He said because Northampton were meant to stay over after they played Bath, and sometimes that can kind of come back to bite you in the ass a little bit, if you know what I mean. Everyone starts thinking of that.
Yeah.
And he said with Harlequins, they used to do a thing of bring your gear, and if you earn the win, we'll stay over. So there is it was nearly the drive to kind of push it on. So yeah,
brilliant. Love it. Here,
did you see that game?
We finish,
Northampton Bath?
No,
sorry, you were in Central Parks.
I was in Central Parks, yeah, but I was following the results. My God, I thought Bath were going to lose, and then to come back and get that.
I felt for Northampton. I know we don't want to be tough on the referees, but I don't think that Pollock is a yellow card one. You know what I mean? I actually think it's a penalty the other way.
Really?
I think he doesn't get access because it's sealed off. And I don't want to go into it, but like they're big calls. I just thought, you know what I mean, in the big moment there, like, and losing someone like him.
I was literally going through, just looking at the report, and it came up, obviously, they won. It's like, Pollock, yellow card of all people, exactly. Jeez.
But I think he's kind of got the head of someone, he's going to be a bit like Ty Byrne, I feel, that some refs will punish him every now and again, just to kind of nearly put manners on him, a bit like Richie McCaw, you know what I mean? But they're just so good at that. But I hate to say it, it was such a big decision. I wonder, I know this sounds awful, but TMOs come in for negative stuff, right? Is there merit in a TMO coming in? And I hate myself for saying it nearly, and saying, hold on there, Andrew Brace, you've got that wrong. We're just, like, if you look at the Liverpool the other night, the ref gave the penalty. He goes over to the VAR thing and they tell him, no, it's, you know what I mean? We're making that call. So I don't know, do we get it in rugby at all? The kind of upside of the tidy up. I don't
want to see more.
I know you don't want to see more, but like, if you're Northampton there, man, you're sick. You're out of Europe when you could have. Because I think it's the wrong decision. I really do. I think the person is sealing off, so he can't get access to the ball first.
Tough one. That is a tough one.
Poor old Northampton.
Poor old Northampton. Didn't think we'd say that. Quickly, just want to touch. One thing. Did you use Ken's toothbrush after, or your toothbrush after?
I did. It became our toothbrush. I still have it 14 years on. You know, as well, like the lads, you know the way rugby lads used to do holidays together because no one else is off, so you just have to go. But I remember hearing that Ken, I think Frankie Sheen told me one time, Ken rocked up with just his passport, and they were like, where is your bag of clothes? And he's there like, we're all the same size, like, you know what I mean? I'll just borrow a pair of jeans off you and a t-shirt. He was minimalist before everyone else.
And this is him saying, make sure you turn up on time and look the part. God knows what he's going to be wearing.
He did at that moment, but not for the rest of it. Oh, what a legend.
What a legend. What a legend. Listen, all the very best to the Irish provinces this weekend. And of course, the Irish women up against Italy. Hopefully so many people go off to see them in the Dexcon Stadium. It's going to be a cracker.
Yeah. Go well, Tommy. Enjoy it.
Chat to you soon, mate. Cheers.